What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka Ninos Corner, man. First off, if you like this content that's coming your way, hit the subscribe button. Means a ton, means a lot. Give me a 5-star comment, 5-star review. Helps the channel grow a lot. If you're not listening to this on YouTube or looking at this on YouTube and you're hearing this on any kind of podcast, whether it's Apple Play, Google Play, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Breaker, the whole nine. Comment, review, like, share. Means a lot. Like I said, it helps the channel grow. But first off, guys, let's get into our sponsor. So, support for the Ninos Corner podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, folks, the 4.0. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with its exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the code NinosCorner at manscaped.com. Again, 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the code NinosCorner at manscaped.com. Also, shameless plug for my own clothing line, man. Go to NinosCornerMerch.com. Use the code NCPeeps10. Get 10% off promo code using that code. It's hoodies, t-shirts, everything. I have a new line coming out too, a brand new collection. It's going to be tie-dye, and it's pretty dope. But thanks to everybody who's been buying it. I've been getting a lot of orders, man. So appreciate you guys for ordering the shirts, the hats, everything. So send the pics to me so I can put them on my Instagram. But folks, you guys came here because we're going to talk about the brand new addition to the Texas wide receiving core, Texas Lands transfer portal wideout from the University of Alabama, Ajay Hall, 6'3", 195-pound wide receiver, a boundary wide receiver, who on three had ranked as the number 1 wide receiver in the country coming from the 2021 cycle. And the consensus, which is an average between not only On 3 but 247 Sports, ESPN, and Rivals, a consensus. It's the number 4 wide receiver in the country when you average all 4 of those sites together, and the number 38 ranked player in the country. But if you go back and look at On 3 had this guy as the number 1 wideout in the country. Guess who's number 2? Xavier Worthy. So what did Sark do, man? Yes, we missed on a guy like Evan Stewart. We did this year. We missed on a guy like Evan Stewart. But if you go back and look at my videos last year when I talked about Xavier Worthy and us getting him, I said we got Evan Stewart a year early, right? We got Evan Stewart a year early. So what are we getting with Ajay Hall? We're getting the 2 best wide receivers in the 2021 class to come here at Texas and play, and he's coming here in the 2022 cycle. So, yes, we missed on Evan Stewart. Would have been great to have him. But guess what? We got the 2 best wide receivers in the 2021 class to come here and play at Texas. We saw what X-Man was able to do here last year as a true freshman, almost 1,000 yards, freshman All-American, probably the best freshman wide receiver in the country last year. This year, expect just great things from him as well. I mean, the kid's amazing. You bring in a guy like Ajay Hall as well, a big framed guy who can play the boundary. This gives you an opportunity to line up X-Men all over the field. But let's just take a look at this wide receiver room and look at where we've come from. We left last season with saying that the wide receiver room might be I'm not going to say the worst room because the worst is just a bad word to say, but the most talent deficient room on the offensive side of the ball minus the offensive line. Now, when you bring in what Texas has done here, just in the portal alone and including the guys that are here on campus. You got Xavier Worthy here on campus. You got Jordan Whittington, who is also a guy who, if he can stay healthy, he's a game changer. And we saw exactly how this Texas offense kind of floundered a little bit last year once we did lose Whittington. But you go to the transfer portal and you pick up 2 big gets. You get Isaiah Nayor from Wyoming, almost averaged 20 yards for reception there, 12 touchdowns, I think 800 yards on 40-something catches. And now you bring in a guy like Ajay Hall, a big monster, 6'3", 195-pound kid. So you got him, you got Nair, who are 2 guys who are big-bodied guys. You couple that, like I said, with Worthy. You couple that with Whittington as well. And you have a 4-man wide receiving crew that can wreck. Now, let's not even talk about the guys who are going to be backing these guys up or who are going to be playing and fighting for time too as well. Marcus Washington really came on last year. Another guy who came on last year as well. You got Marcus Washington. Who am I missing, folks? You got Jordan Whittington. You got Casey Kane, who has been lighting it up here in the spring. Why did I miss Casey Kane? Casey Kane has been lighting it up here, which goes to show you folks, when it comes to any player in college football, it is hard to adjust to a college game. Sometimes it takes some of these players some time to mature, let their bodies fill out, let them be able to become the monsters that we think that they can become. And Casey Kane is a great example of that. Casey Kane is a guy who has been lighting up here in the spring, but you add that to the mix here. So you got Xavier Worthy, you got Isaiah Nayer, you got Jordan Whittington. I think we all know that those three are going to be the first three off the bus when it comes to playing wide receiver. You bring in a talent like Ajay Hall, who on 3 says number one wide receiver coming out of the 2021 class. You bring him, if he can get up to speed over the summer and in the fall, and you can utilize him, you're looking at the opportunity to have a guy like him and Nayer and Whittington and be able to move your chess piece, which is Xavier Worthy, move him all around the board. He can play slot, he can play outside, he can play boundary, he can play field, he can do a little bit of everything. You can line him up everywhere, take some jet sweeps, do what you have to do. But you get a guy like Hall, and like I said, you are able to have mismatch problems with putting Xavier Worthy in the slot, maybe Whittington in the slot as well, having Nayer, having Hall on the edges. Oh my God. We went from the wide receiver being the very talent deficient room, and that's not a knock on the room. It's just that we just didn't have the bodies. We have good talent there, just not the overall sheer bodies needed to make that room a plus room. And now you bring in the guys like Hall and Nayer. You got Whittington coming back if he can stay healthy, and Worthy. And that comes from being your second most talent deficient room to being one of your most talent rich rooms. I think we all know who is the talent rich room there. We got the running back room headed by Bijan, Roshan, Keelan, Jonathan, Jadon, all the uns, right? All the uns. Those guys are killing it in that running back room. And I think we feel very comfortable with that room. Now, with the talent that is infused here at the wide receiver position, we can feel very comfortable if this talent all works out. Now, there have been reports that Hall has been a guy who was in the doghouse at Alabama. But hey, guys, second chances are needed everywhere. You guys have seen, wide receiver coach Brendan Marion's story. Second chances are great. Right? Second chances are what you need. Maybe maybe Marion is one of those guys who can help turn this guy around. Maybe it's just a guy that needs a different, change of pace, a different scenery. Playing for Nick Saban isn't for everybody, folks. Newsflash, it's not for everybody. Playing for, different coaches and their styles is not for everybody. I remember when I was, at school at Texas, and everybody knows my story. I was the RA for all the football players. Even at that time, playing at Texas wasn't for everybody. Mac Brown was a great CEO, but his coordinators drove you, So we had a bunch of transfers there as well when I was in school from the 01 to 05 years. But that's what every school. The coach that you're with is not always the coach that is for you. And let's be honest, Hall got recruited by Steve Sarkisian. He got recruited by Jeff Banks. Matter of fact, Jeff Banks was his lead recruiter. So the staff and the offense that he wanted to play in and thrive in are now the coaches at the University of Texas. So it is just an awesome fit for him to come and play in the offense that he was sold on playing on once he left high school. So I love the skill positions that Texas has racked up in the transfer portal, especially at the wide receivers. Ajay Hall, Isaiah Nayer. Getting those two guys in the transfer portal has been nothing short of amazing for this Texas program. And then let's go look at other positions that we've gotten through the transfer portal. Billingsley from Alabama as well, playing tight end. You pair that guy up with a Gunnar Helm and a Sanders, and you got a three-headed monster there at tight end. Quinn Ewers, we all understand he is the guy. He is like the numero uno when it comes to getting a transfer portal guy. And then if you flip it to the defensive side of the ball, getting a Ryan Watts from Ohio State. But looking at just the transfer portal guys on the offensive side of the ball, now that we do have, Quinn Ewers, now that we do have Ajay Hall, now that we do have Xavier Worthy, who came last year, we are seeing exactly that we've got the number one quarterback coming out of the 2021 cycle in Quinn Ewers. We got the number one wide receiver in the 2021 cycle in Hall, the number two wide receiver in the 2021 cycle in Xavier Worthy. And you're seeing the talent that is being brought here by Steve Sarkisian. And yes, we all understand Xavier Worthy was here in 2021, but that's a Steve Sarkisian guy. The guys who are making plays in this team on that offense side of the ball, minus Bijan, in Roshan, that heavy offensive minded running back room that is just straight ridiculous. The guys that are on the edges, the quarterback that is probably going to be starting here this year, it's all brought in by Steve Sarkisian. So you're seeing exactly what he wants here in his offense. He's wanting speed. He's wanting a little bit of size, but he's definitely wanting speed. And let's get to Hall's speed first off. I think he ran an 11-1 in the 100. Not blazing fast, but fast enough for a guy 6'3", 195 pounds. I think a 22-1 or 22-2 in the 200. So you're getting a guy who has some wheels there. Probably runs around a 4.5 40 or so. But you're getting a guy with size and great speed for his size, and a guy who can go up and track the ball. He didn't have a lot of opportunities last year to play because, as we understand, Alabama had two guys that are probably going to go in the first and second round here this year, in Mechie and Jameson, right? So Jameson might actually go maybe the top 2 or 3 wide receivers here in this draft with a torn ACL, and Mechie's going to definitely be a day 1 pick, or no. I think Mechie would probably be like a day 2 pick, second or third round. But what we're seeing here is that a guy like Hall, very talented, couldn't see the field at Alabama because of the talent that was in front of him. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe that was the problem why he's in the doghouse. The guy knows he can play. The guy knows he can ball. He gets this opportunity to play in the national championship game, and he hauls in 2 catches for over 50 yards. So he did a very good job there. So, hey, I'm excited. Nick Saban's been on record saying that he thought Hall was the most explosive player on the team, or one of the more explosive players on the team last year, and that was with the core that was already there. And so, hey, bringing him into the fold here at Texas with a healthy Jordan Whittington, an explosive, dynamite Xavier Worthy, and Isaiah Nayer, who I think is going to be very fruitful when it comes here to yakking up yards and touchdowns here at Texas. And you have yourself a wide receiver core that's going to be really good this year. Couple that with the running backs that we have in Bijan, Roshan, Keelan, Jonathan, Jaden Blue. I think Texas is in really good hands at the skill positions. The offensive line, of course, we're going to have to work on that. But I think once we get those true freshmen in, 1 or 2 of those guys, I'm pretty sure all Longhorns are understanding that at least 1 or 2 of those guys are going to come in here ready to play. And you can fill in the holes there with the veteran leadership that we had with a Junior Angelau, a Jake Majors, a Hayden Connor, who was a sophomore this year, and a Christian Jones moving from probably left tackle to right tackle. And maybe we got something. Maybe we're cooking with hot grease now. You know what I'm saying? That's an old Southern term, folks, for anybody that doesn't know. Cooking with hot grease. Maybe we're doing that right now. But I love the addition. I love adding Hall to this team. I think this brings talent. Maybe in the past, with a guy with quote-unquote issues, and we don't even know what those issues are, folks. It could just be that the guy's just frustrated, comes from Florida, and he's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I mean, it could literally be that simple. These are 18-year-old and 19-year-old kids, all right? But having a guy like him in previous years, having a guy with quote-unquote issues, you might not have, even had a flyer out on a guy like that. We can't be picky anymore. We got to be able to go get the best talent out there, and I think Hall is definitely one of the better talents here in the transfer portal. And Texas got their guy here. I love the pickup, love the move, strengthens the room. I know Brendan Marion is probably licking his chops right now because he has a great room that he already inherited, but also going in the transfer portal and getting Nayer and Hall just adds to that room. And I think Texas is on a good pace here when it comes to the transfer portal. We'll see how the spring game is going to rack up here over this next weekend and see what these guys can do. But I'm excited about the move, folks. Let me know how you feel there in the comments, what you think about Hall coming here to Texas, 6'3", 195-pound, number 1 wide receiver in the 2021 class, coming here to Texas. I'm all for it. Leave a comment, folks. But on that note, man, I'm out of here, man. I always end this on my Do You chant, man. Don't be afraid to fail. I grow your environment, understand your brilliance. Nino's Corner. I'm out. Horns up. Hook 'em all day long.